Here's a short LaTeX document and the PDF. You'll notice that there's a section on quadratic functions and a section on exponential functions, and intentionally there's a list, a numbered list and a bulleted list. So the structural things like these section headings as well as lists themselves are not going to carry over to create accessible versions of this in Canvas. But what we'll do here, just to illustrate some things, is how do we overcome this? So I'm going to create a new page, which will just be called, this quadratic sample. I guess there's still exponentials as well, but this will work for the name of a page. Now, as I edit this page, I notice that the first thing that I encounter, where it's this section, maybe I'll copy that text and paste this in, but here is where I'm going to have to just, do a heading like this. Now in the remaining section here, all of this LaTeX from here to here, I will just copy and paste, go back to my other tab, paste that. That's going to work out just fine. You'll notice that instead of the usual single dollar sign in front and behind a bit of notation, there's a backslash left parenthesis and a backslash right parenthesis, which, by the way, does work for LaTeX. It is the balanced approach. It's just probably not the one that most people do. And then for center-lined mathematics, like this quadratic formula right here, the double dollar sign to begin and double dollar sign to end. There is another option that uses a backslash square bracket, but that's not going to work here inside Canvas. So maybe I'll just go ahead and save. We'll just see how this much looks already. So, and this is where I'd like to illustrate that there is this issue right here. I intentionally left one of these in single dollar signs. And so that printed, that showed weird on screen. So we just have to change those to backslash parentheses. And if I hit save, that looks okay. Now I'm going to go back and take the next section of stuff. So all of this, unfortunately, will not take. So what I'll need to do is edit, and I want a section that's now called exponential functions that I want to be a heading of a certain size, I forget which. And then what appears next, so this no indent is also kind of a structural thing, right? But I'll take this text, copy, paste, and that's going to work fine. And then I want a numbered list next, right? So that I just need to pull here from the menu. The point is that I don't need to be inserting notation using its built-in equation editor. I can now take the text from each of these lines. Tell you what, I'm going to copy all of this and paste, and of course it's struggling with this item, but I'll just delete and then use my keyboard here to delete that, delete here, and then create the line break that actually creates the next numbered item for me. Then for the next part, there's this text that I'm copy pasting, and then we're going to start a bulleted list. And I guess I'll just do the same. I'll just take the text that's here, copy, paste, and I have just a little bit of editing to do. Here and there. And all of that should work. So the info page that I have here pretty much mimics the content that is on this PDF preview. Now, I wanted to demonstrate, some folks do a version of centerline mathematics that is a backslash square bracket. That tends to be my habit, and this won't work. So I'm just artificially changing it to show, well, that's, I don't know why that's working. It's supposed to just be double dollar signs like this. And maybe you want to remove some of this extra white space or not, but that's probably neither here nor there. Okay. In any case, what I'll do is I'll select all this text and then copy this into my clipboard, save this one last time and just to point out that this is actually truly accessible. So just to illustrate a thing that is actually happening that is accessible here, if I click on the immersive reader, it's going to pull up a large font version of this, but then if I hit play,
Quadratic sample. Quadratic functions. In algebra, we frequently work with quadratic functions of the form f open paren x close paren equals a x squared plus bx plus c, where a not equals 0. The solutions to the equation a x squared plus bx plus c equals 0 are given by the quadratic formula. X equals minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. The expression b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant.
so you see that it actually does a decent job. It reads the square. I've had this thing read for all symbols that are a part of the LaTeX notation and all that. So it's quite accessible. Now I have the content here stored in my clipboard because I just wanted to illustrate, instead of just creating an info page, I could do the same thing by creating an assignment, right? I could have accessible assignment or just homework number 28 or whatever you'd like. And if I edit the instructions for this page, I used to just edit here and just plop a PDF into this spot, the one that I would make out of LaTeX. But now, you just imagine, please, that what I've just pasted in, includes mathematical notation, and that it is the questions for a homework assignment, for example. And overall, the key point is the structural things that make a PDF are not going to work. The headings, the new page, page breaks or vertical spacing or numbered lists or bulleted lists, that's not going to work. It's these individual snippets of mathematics, the notation that's stuck in a math mode. The point is that this all works without having to bother going to the insert menu and pulling up equation like this.